Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. Now, before I start, I'd just like to say that I'm so excited to be here because I live and breathe mobility. And in 2019, I actually traveled all around the world to research what I called smart mobility at the time. So I went to 9 countries in 9 weeks, and I was researching what it was that all around the world people were talking about, but not also what they were talking about, but also what they weren't talking about enough when we talked about mobility. So I was in Amsterdam, I was at a sustainability event, and I was telling them about where I was heading to, and I'd just been to Mexico City. And one guy says, "Oh, wow, Mexico City. Do you know what the biggest problem that they were having there in the metro?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." He said, "It only affects women." I was like, "Oh, I don't know, safety, I guess." And he said, "Oh, well, yes, but maybe not in the way that you're thinking." And I thought, interesting. Okay, tell me more. And he said, they're having this really big problem. Um, Women were giving birth on the floor of the train carriages. And I thought, what? Oh my goodness, these poor women. They're obviously having a baby. They're trying to get to the hospital. They're getting on the train because it's their only form of transport. It's overcrowded. It's delayed, and of course, we know babies just come whenever they're ready. And the government thought this as well, but it was just happening so regularly. They had to investigate. So they looked at the data. They asked the women involved, and it turns out that the women were actually choosing to go to the train station to get on the metro when they were in labour, when they were due to give birth. And I thought, why, oh, why would somebody do this? It turns out that when you buy your ticket for the metro, it's only a couple of pesos. You also get health insurance for the duration of your journey. And I thought, wow, these women are so clever. But what did the government do about this? They could have changed the policy, sent the women away. But according to my Dutch friend, they didn't do that. They actually placed midwives and nurses onto the train to ensure that everyone had a safe journey. I thought, wow, the future of transport, meeting the real needs of our community. Now, even if this story isn't 100% correct, even if my Dutch friend didn't have all the facts correct, the message still stands true. When we think about the future in a bit of a different way, when we have women at the heart, when we have people at the heart, we can have very different conversations to the ones that we had in the past. So I'm so excited that I'm hosting this award ceremony today with the amazing people that are doing just that. Now, before we dive in, just want to share a few housekeeping rules. Not rules, we don't have too many rules here, but thanks for joining us today. You should have received a message in the chat below. Now, if you're having trouble hearing us or experience any technical issues, please just post into the Q&A. That function will be open, and we'll also use that throughout the session. If you've got any questions at all, please pop those in the Q&A, and we will endeavour to answer those for you. Now, first we will hear from the founder and CEO of movmi. Then I will be able to introduce the judges to you all. Venkatesh will then give us an overview of the program. We'll hear from the spotlight applicant and then on to the finalists and the winners. Now, before I hand over to Sandra, I would just like to thank our empowering partners who are up on the slide now. This wouldn't be able to happen without you. Okay, with that, I would like to introduce you all to Sandra Phillips, the founder and CEO of movmi and initiator of Power Wisdom. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Zoe. I'm so excited that we made the bridge between North America and Australia for this event. And so I'm so excited. This is the 3rd edition of Empowerism, and it has grown. I'm like having a real struggle with my background today, but we have an actual new logo, but a few other things have changed. So where did it all start? Why did we start Empowerism? When I started movmi in 2013, one of my things was to encourage and shine a spotlight on women that worked in the space, anyone, whether they're a designer, whether they were entrepreneurs, whether they were bus drivers, and amplify, that there are women working in this space and that there is somebody that looks like you doing something similar. In 2020, we took stock of this, and we had interviewed hundreds of women, and even my team, who paid so close attention, literally struggled to figure out what partners, companies we could bring into projects that we're working on that were women-led and women-owned. So that's why we started Empower Wisdom. So if we move it to the next slide, I can show the couple iterations. So the goal is to identify women-led startups in transportation that have something to do with personal transportation, really. We're less focused on the logistical side, although this is starting to blend. We're working on creating a connected cohort, and I'll be able to show you on the next slide how many we now have. We're 50 companies and counting with this year's edition. These are all women-led, women-founded, women majority-owned companies that change literally how we move around. And then the last thing is through the program, we're also providing mentorship and access to all of our networks. So what has happened in the last couple of years? When we first started, we literally didn't even know who was out there. We found, I think we have on average somewhere between 15 and 20 applicants every year. And so if you look what has happened, and that's the next slide, you'll see that we have people in our cohort went into Elemental Accelerator. We have ABB, who's been one of the jury members the first 2 years, both with ABB. There have been relationship between one of the applicants, GoToYou and ABB, to build a charging network out. We had Kickaboo, who raced through a crowdfunding, and we amplified that. In South America, we had a very traditional car sharing operation backed by a large dealership, mostly men, team up with Upgirl for them really to learn how to speak to women, because the majority of their members are male. We have Charter Help, the first year's winner, just announced that they're working with Tesla, and we had one of last year's applicants just got approved for a large grant to build out micromobility in Africa. So what I'm trying to say is, like, we now really have that lift that 2 years ago I was talking about, and have the ability to bridge gaps and collaborate amongst each other, and just profit from each other's network as well. I think that's the other thing that is organically happening. So what's new this year? Really two things. The winner will receive the biggest prize package we have been able to make, with 2 pro bono consulting packages, plus a PR bundle that they can curate. If they're in Europe, they can go to Autonomy. If they're in North America, they can join Kirby or SMR conferences. And then the other one, for anyone who didn't make it or who didn't win, but is part of the cohort now, we have a structured network now, and we also have 2 free workshops that are virtual throughout the year that anybody can access that joined. So with that all said, I'm handing back to you, Zoe, for the jury announcement.
Thank you, Sandra. It's so exciting. I love the work that you do. And yeah, I know I said excited a lot, but I don't know what other word to describe it. I'm really pumped to be able to introduce you to our 6 judges, and then we're going to we're going to keep going on to the finalists and winners right after we jump over the spotlight. Now, let's go to the judging panel now. So the Empower Wisdom judging panel consisted of Aishwarya Raman, Boris Pilichowski, Jessica Alba, Sergio Aveleda, Sandra Phillips, and one of Empower Wisdom's alumni, Candice Chi. Now, they had the very extremely difficult task of taking the 17 submissions and selecting, firstly, the top 5 finalists, and then bringing that down to the top 3, and then finally selecting the winner. So thank you so much to our judges for all your hard work on this. Excellent. Yes, if we can just get the jury onto the panel, onto the stage, onto the screen, and just say thank you to them before we move on, if that's okay. Will that work? Here we go, here we go, here we go. The magic is happening. Welcome, Boris. Welcome,
Hello, everybody.
Candice,
I'm happy to be here.
Jessica. Oh, the suspense, the suspense. Thank you, Sandra. We're nearly there. Sergio
Hello,
and
everyone.
Aswara.
Excited to be here, everyone.
Hello there, everyone is. Thank you so much to the panel. Everyone can just give them a Zoom round of applause. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you. Okay, perfect, amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to keep zooming on through now. I'm going to hand over to Venkatesh Gopal for the program overview. Over to you, Venkatesh.
Thank you, Zoe. Yeah, and it'll be my pleasure too. And yeah, thanks a lot to all the jury members. Some of them have been sticking around since the first season, so that's a testimony to how the program means to the whole community. And thanks everyone for that. So first off, wow, what a program! So the kind of lineup that we got, the kind of change makers that we've got as experts. At first, when back in 2020, like Sandra mentioned, when she bounced this idea off of us, it was nothing more than like, okay, it's how can we bring a difference to the Women and Shared Mobility series. That was late summer in 2020, and then here we are, like third year, 50 incredible female-led mobility startups, each one with a vision to making cities more livable through better transportation. And before I delve into like how we went about it and all the methodology and process and all of that, let me be very frank, right? So it's through the last 3 seasons, again, that I personally have been enlightened so many times of like what kind of unique solutions there are, the kind of progress that each of the startups have made. It could be some contribution that each of the companies have made. It could be the achievements that they've made. But then from all of this, it's just a fact that remains, which attests to the fact that when you have this big impact through female leadership, it brings a change to transportation, and not just in gender equity, but in overall equity, like mobility for all, right? And we realize there needs to be consistent efforts in that, and in as tiny as they might seem today, we hope to create. We hope that it creates ripple effects to inspire others. So about the program, 17 applicants, and wow, what diverse background. It wasn't by design, and this happens every year, and I'm so happy about this. We saw every aspect of shared mobility covered, like technology, mobility service providers, operators, consulting, EV infrastructure. This time we've got EV infrastructure in micromobility. We've got batteries for, EV infrastructure for cars, batteries for micromobility, and then shared infrastructure, not just cars, right? And that's incredible, important for movmi, because it's something that we have our work cut out in like so many other areas. So it's heartening to see that there are female change makers in every aspect of shared mobility, and our reach practically extended to like 10 countries this year, thanks to our fantastic jury and our Empower Wisdom partner all around the world, and our friends such as Zoe and everybody else in our team. love to witness the power of connections. And this is where we were able to reach out to these 17 wonderful startups across 5 continents this time. Moving to the next slide, the process actually took this time a little bit lesser than the first year. So it was like 75 days. So we're becoming efficient. But also, like, since the launch of the program, we started screening the applicants against eligibility. It starts all easy. And then through that, we entered the judges, the jury assessments, through the holidays, emails, back and forth, notes, feedbacks going along. And then we have a call, evaluate them, screen them, get to the top 5. The 3 major categories is vision, leadership, and innovation. The difficult part was that we are comparing apples to goats. So it's no comparison that we can draw. But this was the toughest task with the jury. And we looked at these solutions which support equity in transportation. How do they create sustainable, livable cities across the UN Sustainable Development Goals? What are the unique strengths? Are they scalable? How feasible their solution will be? What kind of help they would need? What priorities do they have right now? What current needs do they solve as a solution? And how innovatively they do that? And once all of that is done, we gave each of the top 5 entries after the selection a face-to-face chance to come and talk about their impact. What do they envision? How do they think about making this change in their venture through their venture in the cities? And we are all left speechless, truly blown away by each of their passion and drive, whichever state they are. The whole experience was nothing short of enriching for me personally every year. And it brings us down to the 3 finalists. And that's how the journey has come throughout the last few couple of months now. With that, I hand it back to you, Zoe. Thank you again, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Venkatesh. Definitely there's ripples. Don't worry about that rippling out to everything you do. I was thinking about the apples and the goats, though. I wonder if I'm an apple or a goat some days. But let's move on. We are, again, extremely excited to hear who the winner is. But first, we're actually heading to our spotlight applicant. Now, a bit about the spotlight. As we know, all startups aren't at the same level and need different kinds of support and mentorship as they move through. Now, the Empower Wisdom Spotlight applicant is our way to recognise the one applicant from among the others who is really in a league of their own, which is outstanding. And the grand prize, which is the mentorship package and all the other great things that come along with that, that we've put together, may not quite do it justice to what this startup actually needs at this level. So Empower Wisdom has been fortunate since year 1 that they have received, that we've received one spotlight worthy applicant every year. So Candice Chi, one of our jury members who you met earlier this evening, was the spotlight applicant from 2 years back. And we're really proud to be associated with them throughout this program. Now this year is no different. We have an amazing applicant with a leading female change maker yet again who we wish to spotlight. So I'd like to welcome to the virtual stage Monalisha Thakur.
Hey Zoe, hi everyone. Thank you so much for the amazing introduction. Really touched. So I'll just share my screen just a minute. I hope you guys can see my screen. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, folks, Zoe has given a very good introduction of me, and so this year was, has been an incredible year as we have started the journey. But before we start everything, and we have been talking about tomorrow, we have been talking about a lot of other things in the story and the whys and the what. I would, at any point of time, would like to start with what makes me, me, what makes Monalisha Thakur, what are the driving force behind what you see at the screen right now. So this is the family that comes, and they are the drivers who drive me in the journey that I am pursuing at the moment. So that's Priyangi, my daughter. That's Ranmay, my husband and my fellow co-founder. So yeah, I'm a wife, a mother, two fellow co-founders. On the right side, I have Narayan, the CTO and the product guy, and Hiranmay, the fellow co-founder, is the CEO as well. And yeah, on the other side of the screen, you find the entire team who backs us up, the 35, 36 incredible people. And yeah, right at the top, how can I forget the chief brand manager, as I call her, Chia. She is the brand mascot of Timok, the birdie at the top. And she is the one who actually has a lot of, I think, more fan following, including, more fan following than all of us here, together included. So yeah, that's a small family that, I belong to, and they are the ones who have driven and who make Timok what Timok is at the moment. So yeah, so I think enough of me. Before I think I can actually talk endless about this, but I think I should really keep going to the next slide and talk about the story of why a normal commuter, a daily commuter like me, who used to take public transport on day-to-day life, right? I mean, what really happened that from the daily commuter, I actually reversed the term commute and I made it Timok, minus the E. If you see, the Timok word is actually the reverse of the word commute. So that's what I did. So there's a very famous quote that which says that, life happens when you least expect it to be. So so the journey goes like this. So, I mean, in the millions of travels, I would say millions, because, I mean, you up and down, and I'm already 35. So, I mean, of the various travel that I did using public transport, the challenges that I faced across the whole journey, whether it was, especially in a country like India, where there are millions of people. It's the 7th largest country in the world, and it's the 2nd largest populous country in the world, right? It's crazy. We are a crazy bunch of folks. And at the same time, every state and every city is different. Like every 5 kilometers, you'll find a new culture, a new tradition. And so is the form of, modes of transport at all the levels. So when I was going through all the journey and traveling the various parts of India in my job, when I started working, I was into sales, and I was heading country and SAARC nations in my last few profiles. What I realized is that across all the levels, even though I have been an avid user of public transport, the basic avenues, something which is as basic as you getting the basic information of public transport. You don't know where your bus is, you don't know where your metro is. The problem of reaching from your source to destination, these were the problems which and it's like, I mean, I'm talking like 15 years back to back, right? It's nothing was changing. Like the country is progressing, the tech is progressing, I am progressing from a student to working professional, to getting married, to having a kid, to going across the ladder in my corporate world, but this thing is not changing. And then it came to a point when we were like, okay, guys, I think enough is enough. Let's instead of really talking and cribbing about it, let's take the plunge. And this is how Timok happened. So the interesting thing about Timok is when we started with the first use case, which was the immediate issue, that was the issue of first and last mile connectivity from the public transport bus stops or metro stations to your respective homes or offices or wherever you're going, because even that was a problem. Even though I'm talking about 2016 when we started the company, we had Olas and Ubers, but the problem was because it was a small mile, right? 2.5, 3 kilometers, the Olas and Ubers used to cancel the rides. So much so that when I was 8.5 months pregnant, and Hiranmay, my fellow co-founder, he used to travel a lot. And because I've always been a avid traveler of using public transport, I always used to have a challenge to take the last mile from the metro station to my home, which was 2.5 kilometers. And many days with 8.5 months, big belly, I used to walk. I walked 2.5 kilometers. Imagine a country like India, which is so progressive, obviously crying back home. And this didn't happen once, it happened many times. And, and I think life happens when you're, making other plans. So this is when, was like the last nail in the coffin. And I was like, you know what, let's do something about it. It's killing us. We have to do something. And this is how bikers started. We did that with that intention. We started this first and last mile in Bangalore. It's a Silicon City capital of the country. We did that in Hyderabad and Kolkata, name of the few locations. We also got a lot of accolades from the government, from the Startup India. We were one of the runner-ups in Startup 2020 awards. We were the best startup award. We actually won the best startup award for government of Karnataka. So there was a lot of support from the government as well. But along the way, what we realized was that, hey, I mean, even though we were just solving the first and last mile problem, the actually problem was much more bigger. Now, why is it so that there are so many big companies and startups in across the world when it comes to transit? But why is it that none of them is there in India? What is the problem? And then we realized that the problem is not just the first and the last mile, right? It's actually much bigger, which is the STs, the State Transit Agencies, which actually govern these intracity or intercity platforms in India. And they are ops-driven companies. They don't understand technology. So if you really want to solve the problem, you don't have to just solve the B2C side of it. You have to also enable and basically upgrade and become the knowledge partner of the techies or of the state transit agencies, right? Who drive the BMTCs and the metros and millions of people. And I'm just giving you a number that as I'm talking to you, on a daily basis, we have 75 to 80 million people who travel in India daily on intracity travel. And the numbers are crazy, and these are absolutely driven by these STAs. And this is where we were able to finally cater to the entire problem as a gamut. So right now, what we do is we not only solve the B2C side of the problem as an app, because we have a product, we also cater to the B2B side of it because the data is fragmented. They don't have data themselves. They don't know how to track it. So we become their knowledge partners too. And we enable and strengthen the tech part of all the state transit agencies as well. So this is how we are, creating that balance. And from there, the real scale up of Tumok started. Now, before we start, I'll just take you through a basic 1-minute video of what we are doing through this 360-degree solution. How is it that we are solving the entire gamut of problem from the user side as well as from the government side? Yeah, so that's what we do. So these are the 3 problems that we solved, as I already mentioned earlier, that there was a lack of reliable information, the STOs were not enabled enough. And then, we had to put a platform where we had to basically upscale ourselves from biker to Tumok, where we became that ecosystem enabler in a place where you have the first and last mile players like Rapidos and Olas and Ubers and Quick Rides. We have all the information and STAs. And then on the other side, we have the state transit agencies where we are, getting the information from them, helping them in, getting the tech part of the problem solved and putting it all together as an ecosystem enabler. And that is exactly what we are doing at Tumok here. So when you go to the application, I'm talking about the B2C part of it. These are the 3 basic use cases that we have on the product. The first part talks about the discovery of transit information, where across the 17 cities where we are live at the moment, we give the real-time information of all the different modes of public transport in that area. So for example, in Bangalore, you have buses and metros, at an airport, rails, and in Chennai, it will be different. In Delhi, it will be different. So for different locations, what are the different modes of transport? That is the first thing we'd give it to the users. The second thing is absolutely the first and last mile connectivity, where we realize that, there are already big players available in the country. So why not harness them than to really get into the, the market ourselves, because we have upscaled and become the ecosystem enablers, right? So that's where, companies like Rapido, who is actually a unicorn right now, they have a presence around 150 cities in India. So they are our partners. The next one is Quick Ride, which is again into cab services. They are also big time into EV, and they're also into cab, ride sharing and cab sharing. So they are the two partners. Through them, we are giving the first and last mile connectivity. And now comes the interesting part, that here we add all the first mile, last mile, and the ticketing of the public transport together as a single journey. Now imagine, instead of you getting into you get into first take the first mile, you get into Rapido, then you take a bus from point A to point B, and then again you get down, and then again you have to take an EV ride, right? So what if I put everything as one single QR and give it to you, where you don't really have to juggle through all the 5 apps or 3 apps that you're using, and just one QR and you're good to go. And to make that possible, what we really did was, we did our research, we did our studies, we worked on that, we created a patent, we got it granted. So the tech that we use at the back end of the single ticketing that you see is absolutely IP driven. It has been granted by the government of India IP services, and the same has been applied to various countries across the globe to basically take this tech across the various parts of the world as well, and to share it with the whole world. So this is where we are at the moment while we are talking to you, across around 2.2 million users to be exact. We are live in across 17 cities. There are approximately 12 STAs with which we are already working. And the best part of them is most of them have actually come as word of mouth, because we helped one. The others also came along and they said that, why don't you do that for us? And that's how the whole journey continued. So along for the ticketing revenue, we have already crossed around 4.5 million revenue as I'm talking to you, and 200K plus, right? So this is the journey that we have done in the span of 6.5 years. Now, before I end this session, and this is the various customer feedback. Now, definitely, these are the people who actually drive us at the end of the day. They are the people who have been supporting us throughout the journey. And, really grateful to them because if I can tell you about the numbers of the users that we have, approximately 45% to 47% of the user is organic. And that directly shows on the CAC also that amount of acquisition that we do. It is, if I talk in Indian rupees, it is actually less than 3 rupees as I'm talking to you, which is, very less, I can put it like that. So so it is because of the fact that it is a need, not a want. So absolutely grateful to them as well that for trusting us in our journey. In fact, they have played such an important role that every month we have these sessions with our users, feedback sessions, where we call them and talk on the product and the technology. And we have these extensive sessions, we call them, and we take their feedback on the various products that we have and what are we're going to do them in the future. So so this is all that we have. These are various partners and affiliations that are working with us in our journey, that are supporting us in our journey. From the Startup India to Smart 50 to BMTC, Map My India, you will hear Toyota Mobility. These are the various names which is there. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Now, before I end, I would like to end this with a very famous quote from my favorite author, because all of us are here women, and most of us are here women, I would put it like that. And the journey that I started 6.5 years back has not been easy. It's been crazy. Sometimes I feel that, okay, it actually keeps me at toes all the time. And sometimes I feel that, okay, where will I really be able to sit back and relax? But then I go back to the intent of why we started all this, and then it all makes sense completely. So ending it up, with a very famous poem from Maya Angelou. She's my favorite poet. It's called Still I Rise. You may write me down in the history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I have got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise. So this is how I would like to end this presentation, saying that yes, folks, we are here to rise, so let's just make it happen. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mona Lisa. That poem you ended on was brilliant. If you can't read my shirt, it says "We rise by lifting others." That wasn't planned, but it's true. We have to keep rising, and we do rise by lifting others. Now, that was a really great presentation. Thank you for taking us through your journey and all the challenges. Your growth is truly impressive. Solving a very complex problem in a really friendly and accessible way. Amazing work. And we all love Tia as well. Little birdie there. We love her.
She makes her own fan following wherever she goes. So I'm not surprised. Thank you so much. I'll convey that to her.
Thank you. Thank you, Mona Lisa. Okay. We're moving on now to the awards. Okay, well, let's just jump straight in, shall we? We're on to the top 3. So I am thrilled to announce that Nina is in 3rd place. So Simone, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, do you listen to me?
Yes, hello.
Hello, everyone. So, my name is Simone Cesar. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here. My English is not perfect, so I can try to speak a little more. My name is Simone Cesar. I am the founder and CEO of Nina. Nina offers consulting services for the formulation of public and private policies on gender and mobility. And we have a development side, software as a service, that can be integrated into any application to track, standardize, centralize harassment cases in urban mobility. Nina began for personal reasons. I grew up in the poor community here in Brazil, and my mother was a bus ticket collector, and she's spent 12 hours per day as an easy target in the Uber fleet. Every 4th second, there is a sexual harassment case on Brazilian public transport, and sexual harassment on public transport only became a crime here in 2018. Nina objective is to be standard reporting channel. In 2019, we became a public policy and the 50th largest capital in Brazil, the city of Fortaleza. We cover an area with more than 1 million users transport per day. We collect more than 3,000 sexual complaints in 18 months. We have a true emergency and preventive actions protocol to assist and direct victims and witnesses. And the local government has access to our dashboard and our data influence to creation of CS plans and security policies. Unfortunately, this is not a problem in Brazil, it's a global problem. We do need to create a shared mobility with great energy efficiency, but this mobility needs to be above all safe and accessible for everyone. Through the program, we want to expand our operation to other parts of the world, because Nina is not just about technology. Nina is not just about smart cities. Nina is about hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone, and congratulations, Nina, for securing 3rd place. And thanks for sharing a little bit about what you're doing and your mission. Yeah, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on 3rd place. Okay, we are now on to 2nd place. So in 2nd place, we have It's Electric. So Tia, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tia Gordon. I am the co-founder of It's Electric. I have 20 years of experience in design for some of the country's top firms and institutions here in the United States. And I'm now venturing to spend the next 20 years on projects that use design to wage war against the climate crisis. It's Electric is bringing EV charging to the 40 million US drivers who cannot charge at home as they park their cars on the streets. We solve this problem by overcoming infrastructure barriers by using the energy from buildings to power a publicly accessible curbside charger. In return, we share revenue with these buildings, whether it's a residential building, a commercial building, a school, you name it. This allows us to deploy without discrimination, as today in the United States, many who buy EVs are alarmed by climate change, but they're also overwhelmingly white and wealthy. Our business model is designed for us to be free to cities and free to building owners. And our mission to provide curbside charging for electric vehicles ensures that every community, no matter the median income or prevalence of driveways or garages, has access to clean transportation. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my work with the Empowerison community.
Thank you, Tia, and congratulations to It's Electric for securing second place. Thank you. Okay, we're at the final now. So with that, I won't hold it up any longer. I'm excited to announce that We is the winner for the 2023 Empower Wisdom Award. We has a vision to impact change in societal thinking, focusing on parents. They are inclusivity focused with a diverse team to help fill those gaps in the mobility space. So congratulations, We, and I will hand over to you, Carrie Ann.
Hi, thank you so much, you guys. This is overwhelming to me. My name is Karianne. I am a designer as well. I'm also a human-centric mobility activist, and I am the founder and CPO of We. The name of our company is what children squeal when they experience life from the back of a cargo bike. We. I represent our Oslo-based team of 10 with 5 working founders. And the problem we are working to solve is car dependency and its multifaceted negative impacts on society. The problem we are working on is solving it for urban households, because becoming a parent is the tipping point into a car-centric lifestyle. Caretakers need to trip chain and bring goods and passengers, and this group more than anyone needs better alternative mobility. So we offer this through an all-inclusive personal cargo bike subscription with mass ambitions. Providing urban households with complex transportation needs an alternative to owning a car is a system-changing, multi-solving action with continuous positive ripple effects. So we take a systemic approach to impact in mobility and are focused on improving cities and communities, responsible production and consumption, and equality and gender balance. That is We. And we are so grateful for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie Ann. Amazing. Well, team, we are at the end of this. We are actually going to jump on screen. I'd like to invite all of the jury members and the movmi team to join the winner on screen for a group photo. So if I can get everyone on screen.
Okay, one, 2, and 3.
There you go.